Hello there, my name's David Hall, and for my sins I'm the publisher of Total Carp Fishing Magazine and Advanced Carp Fishing Magazine. I've come to the Larford fishery today in the heart of Worcestershire. It's a beautiful fishery and it's full of fish. But I've come here with a question in mind. To quote Dick Walker, why is it that 20% of the anglers catch 80% of the fish? Well, one such angler is Derek Ritchie, known better to most of you as the Don. I've come to catch up with him. He's fishing along the bank. Let's go and see how he's getting on. Morning.
Morning, David.
How are you?
Nice to see you.
And you, and you. Isn't it lovely?
It's absolutely gorgeous
Lovely
this
autumn morning.
We've got nice, the wind's just got up just before you got here about an hour ago. That's what we need, a little bit of wind.
A lot of fish topping as I walk round.
Yep, there is a lot of fish topping out there.
Tell me something. When you come to a fishery like this, which is a prolific fishery, a lot of carp and a lot of big carp, you're on the far bank. From an obvious point of view, you're away from the madding crowd. But what do you look for when you come to a place like this in terms of a swim? What made you pick this particular swim?
Well, a number of things. I spoke to the bailiff yesterday.
Local knowledge.
And you've got, local knowledge. You need someone. If you can speak to people, I spoke to a few people yesterday who were fishing in a swim to my right, and they managed to catch a couple of fish. The other thing is, when I looked at the areas of the lake, yesterday there was a slight wind blowing down towards that end, but it wasn't nothing serious to push the fish up there to feed. Normally you'll have either end of the lake or the middle. I've chosen the middle because while I was watching yesterday from on the bank opposite, I saw quite a few fish put their little heads out there, and I just thought, looks like a good spot.
What advice would you give to anybody, local knowledge obviously you and I would say is 80% takes the risk away, but anybody going to a lake for the first time, what advice would you give them?
Have a good look around when you get there. There's obvious signs. Sometimes you go to a lake and you won't see any fish, but if you persevere, when I'm going on to waters where there's not many fish, you have to keep having a little look about and see if they're in little nooks and crannies on the lake. Little sets of pads, weed beds and things like that. Yeah, features. That's obviously your first thing. Bait-wise, well, most people have got their favourite baits that they like to use. On most of these waters now, there's so many good baits going in there that, you can use anybody's make a bait, I think, and catch fish.
I'm glad you've said that, Derek, because you can imagine how much bait we get in the office for reviews. And I've got a pond at home, and I take bait from the office to feed the fish. And the standard is such now that there's very little that they reject. I noticed you were using some mainline pellets as I walked up. My fish absolutely love them. They love them, and I've had some good fish this year using them in a swim feeder.
Yeah.
But I think the days of people making their own, it's not necessary anymore, is it?
No, well, everything's made easy, isn't it? If you look at everything, like who'd have thought that you'd go and buy a tin of beans and you ain't got to use a tin up there, you just pull the ring and you're there. It's with fishing, it's like an evolution of things happening. You get little edges, bigs and things like that, but it's what they want to eat. It's what they want to eat. And there's times when you come out fishing, especially winter time, when the going gets tough and the tough get going.
As they say.
It's you see the fish in your garden pond, middle of winter, high pressure, and they just sit there like that.
Yeah.
Peter,
I always remember Peter Stone writing an article for me, and it was the first time I'd ever heard the description, but he said they lay torpid in the winter. And he was absolutely right.
Yeah.
They don't want any food. They just,
No, they just sit there.
on the vine. But now, late September, early October, the leaves are just starting to brown on the trees. I always think this is a great time for fishing.
They want it. They've got to feed, they've got to get body weights on, they've got to build themselves up to last for the torpid time. They, you know, like they build themselves up. This is when you get fabulous weights on fish. Like, for instance, on, you know, like on this lake, you know, there's a lot of small fish, because obviously it's a match fishery, but there are big fish in there as well, you know, 20-pounders, you know, that are, and they, this time of the year, they seem to slip up a lot more, the bigger fish, because they've got to eat. It's like the squirrels. You see the squirrels.
Oh,
what
they
do, they go out and gather everything up. They want to get on it, so that, you know.
So what's your approach been today? Have you fed the swim? What bait are you using?
Right, today I'm using mainline baits. I'm using the mainline boilies. I've got the pulse and the pineapple. I've been here a couple of times before, and when I came here last time I used the pulse, and when I came the time before I used the pineapple. And as we just said, you know, any bait, boilie wise, is from the mainline stable is, you know, a good bait. Oh, got a little liner then. Oh,
I think it's a bit more than that.
here we go. I think we're in. There we go. Yes, please. Number one.
Well, that didn't take very long, did it?
No, it's only been out there about 10 minutes, I suppose. It does help. You know, we put quite a bit of feed out there.
How far out are you fishing?
I'm fishing at about 45 yards. And what we've got, I've run the marker through the swim as soon as, it's come off. Never mind. What I've tried to do is I'm trying to single out the bigger fish. So what I'm doing is I'm fishing 2 boilies on the hair. I'm sure another one will come along in a minute.
Let's just have a look at that and let's have a look at your setup while you...
Oh, I wonder what that was. Now, I'm going to show you now. Look at that. What I reckon's happened here, we've had another fish come through which was trailing a hook length.
So that wasn't that
wasn't a bite. No wonder it was a bit strange, because normally they fire off like a rocket in here. And I reckon what's happened, someone's had a hook length on there, and he's run across my line, or he's come round to eat the bait, and it's got caught up on it. Look at that.
So that's part of somebody else's rig?
Yeah, that was somebody else's rig. You can't emphasise enough on, you know, rigs that discharge quickly. With this one, right, what we got a clip on there, which all of this can all fall to pieces. If a fish gets tethered or anything like that, it can discharge the lead. There's a little nipple on the side of there. And if I fish in weedy waters, where you want to get the fish to the surface as quickly as possible, when you've got a lead on, the fish will stay down deep, and it will catch on the weed. And what happens, if you only push it on slightly, you can discharge that lead, right, which automatically will force the fish to the surface. Right, well, I don't know what's gone on there. All we've got is the clip back, but that is definitely, I reckon, that there was a fish on the end of that. Maybe on this end, whether the lead was on that end, I don't know. But having that there coming off of the line like that, you know, that's a road trader, that one.
A foreign body. So let's have a look at what you've got here. So,
right.
Run that past me.
Run that past you. Right, what we've got is, as I said to you before, I've put on 2 boilies. Reason being, there's quite a few small carp like this, and to be quite honest, we don't want to catch them, we want to catch the bigger ones. And I've found that when I've fished here before, if you fish with a double bait on here, sometimes I put a treble bait on as well. It seems to get round the smaller fish.
Yeah.
Right. What I've done is, because on the lake it's nylon hook lengths only, there's no braided hook lengths, we've tied that. We call this a stiff rig.
Right.
Right. And what it is, you know, like a fish. If I said to you, what is the easiest thing for a carp to get rid of? Is it a square bait or a round bait?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, if you suck that in, if when a fish sucks that in, if you've got like just say one single round bait on the end, it will suck it in and it can go and blow it straight out. The reason you've got the stiff rig is it makes it really hard for it to eject it, right? Plus having two baits on as well, you know, it is difficult. And that's it. We've got a loop at one end just to give it a little bit of movement.
And what breaking strain is this?
That is £25. Right. I know it's some people will think that's, you know, on some lakes you go down fine, which you do. This is quite a cloudy lake. And also I'm using a fluorocarbon. When you put that in the water, that will disappear. So we've got the loop. You know, that is really difficult. If you was to have, say for argument's sake, a £6 line on it, right, it would
be much more supple.
Yeah, and obviously it can eject it a little bit easier. And what I've done is a knotless knot. If you notice, these hooks that I'm using are, they've got an slightly inturned eye on them, so that when the fish picks it up, it works like a liner really, and it just spins it round. When you run that across your hand, it will just turn and go in every time. Because this is where you want to hook them. You don't want to hook them, you know, up here. No. You want to get them bang in the centre of the lip.
And what hook is that you're using?
This is a new one from Maver. This is one of our hooks, which is in our range. To be honest with you, the time that we're doing this, we haven't really put a name on it.
Right. So it's a prototype?
These are, you know, ones that I play around with. I like a long shank hook. When we go a bit later on, I'll take you into some more detail of the hooks that and some of the setup that we're using.
Okay. Let's get you out there again. That didn't take very long, did it?
No, we just had that little episode on the other rod.
Is that a back lead you've got on there?
Yeah, that's a back lead. To put the back lead on, I'll tell you why. It's, number one, we've got swans bobbing up and down the margins, and I don't want them to take the line out. But one of the things that I do find when you fish here, when you get a fish into the margin, they normally go crazy, bonkers.
Is there a definite shelf?
Yeah, where it runs out from here. You know, there is definitely a drop-off there. What happens, as soon as they come along the edge, they try and take the other rods out. They know that if they come along the edges, they've got a good chance of slipping the hook or whatever.
And are you fishing the same baits on this rod as you were fishing on the first one?
Yeah, exactly the same. Exactly the same. You can't beat a bit of pineapple. I love a pineapple wanger. You got to use a pineapple wanger.
I don't know about you, but I've found in the summer, and I suppose we're coming to the end, well, we've come to the end of it, but I've had tremendous success with halibut.
Oh, halibut. Well, the thing is with halibut, it's very oily. And what happens is, you know, in the winter months, if you start pumping oil into them, it's like lard, if you like.
Yeah, they can't digest it the same.
And the pellets don't discharge the oil like they should because the water temperatures are so cold.
Yeah. But, do you find that in the summer the fish meal based baits work well?
Oh yeah, they always will. Whoa, here he goes. I think he's just found the shell.
I think you're right.
Come on, run him, tiger.
One of the reasons that I always enjoy coming fishing with you is because, like me, you still see fishing as fun.
Oh, I do. It doesn't matter how big they are, how small they are, except when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you get a 5-pounder.
Or a bream.
Oh, bream, yeah, the old Ginos, they come along. The old Ginos, you know,
This is not bad,
it's just
is it?
it's just a little scamp. Just a little scamp. That's pasty size, that one.
Yeah.
Come on. Last night I had 4, up to 22 pounds. I had an incredible fish. I had an 18-pound ghost, and it just looked like it'd been in a paintball fight. It had all orange dots all over it. Incredible fish.
Oh, it's not as big as I thought at first.
But that is just
a
a
nice
little...
fish, though.
It's straight, you know, wow, it's any fish, especially when the cameras are rolling. Can you see that, how he's blown the rig right the way up the line? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Come here, little fella.
There you go.
Notice this, look, I dropped the lead inside the net. If you leave it outside, sometimes when you go to lift the net up and the lead's outside, it'll hang the fish up the side, and of course it'll muck the fish up, and you don't want to do that. So if we just put in there, I'll go and get my net, me unhooking mat. We'll plop him down over here, and away we go.
Weight's that?
A lot of the time when I come and fish, you know, like on these waters, normally I'd use a smaller net. I usually use a 36-inch net rather than a 42, but I've tried to remember everything, but I've left that at home. So that don't matter, does it?
Nobody's perfect.
Right, put that down over here. Always try and stand it up. Don't leave it laying on the floor, because you might jump on it. And there you go, there's the first little fella. That little one there. God, he's small, isn't he?
Well, you're 5,
you
6
put
pounds.
2 slices of bread round it and eat it. So we're slipping back, and we get ready for the next one.
That was a good start.
Business on prize.
2 bites in the first half an hour. That's not bad going, is it?
Ah, wait till he gets going. Right, I'm going to show you what I've done. Let's bring this in over here, look. Alright, that's my little magic box.
This is a potpourri, isn't it?
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff in there. We've got our boilies in there, look, they're all sitting in there, all jazzed up in that. Got to have it jazzed up. Have a little whiff of that. That is, oh, if this was Polar Vision, bloody hell smells. You'd go, oh.
And what's the difference in the colours?
And the difference in the colours, well, that one I was telling you about, look, right, the light coloured one is pineapple, and this one is the pulse. What I've done is, although it's got a different smell, I've put it in with the juice. You can smell that. It's got, you know, that's more of a meaty sort of flavour.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
A lot of day ticket water's like a little bit of sweet. But I have used...
It's like a very mild pepperami, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, you know, pepperami drives them balmy, doesn't it? Right, let's get this rod out. All right, you can see he's knocked one off, look. A little pop-up still there. All right, what we do, we'll put that down there.
I was going to ask you about that, because you've produced all these boilies, and there's not a yellow one in sight, so what's...
Ah, yeah. Are you Sherlock Holmes? Alright, it's over there in the livery. Hang on a second, I'll go and get it.
It's a good job we did a rehearsal, isn't it?
Oh, bloody right as well. Let's do it. Look, there, look, you can smell them. That is the pineapple hanger. Whenever all else fails,
Dear me.
you put one of them on. That is one of the most effective single hook baits
You could eat that
you can get. Oh, you can, look.
No.
Nothing wrong with that. Oh my God, I'm floating about. Right, so, rig. Here we go. Pull that up now like that. Baiting needle. Boil it.
It really is made easy these days, isn't it?
Oh yeah, well,
it's not so long ago we're drilling holes.
Oh, drilling, like we was drilling for oil. Pull that on. There you go. Get your little barley stop. Look at that. I've got a yellow one to match it.
Do you think that matters? It can't harm. It can't do any harm, can it?
Do you think they come down like that? Do you know? Like, look where the carp's eyes are. When he goes down, he don't come up and go,
Hello?
There's a barley stop in there. Hello, hello. Right, nip that off. Oh, plop that in there. When you think of all the debris and the rubbish that's on the bottom, we'll do that again, shall we? This is the thing, when you get old, really, I should have my glasses on. But
I gave up on vanity a while ago.
On what?
Vanity. The chances are, if I didn't wear my glasses, I'd probably walked into the lake.
You would have walked into the lake, would you? Well, I'll tell you what, it's at times like this that I wish I'd have put them on. Then I can bloody see what I'm doing. I'm as blind as a bat without them. It's weird because a friend of mine, a long time ago, I was working in an angling shop and there's an old boy there, Pete. And old Pete, he turned around and said to me, you wait till you get to 48, your eyeballs will go. And do you know what? I got to 48 and I couldn't see so far looking out. And of course up close. Now I've got them ones, what they call them, bisexual. No, bifocal, isn't it? Bifocal. Yeah. Right. What we've got to do with this rod is I've marked the line up. What I've used is a little bit of tape.
Yes, I saw that.
All right. What I've got to do is cast it out. All right. Clip it up. Bring it back in again, and I'm going to put one of these little old boys on the end. Yeah, we haven't. Last time I cast out, I just used a straight bait like that because there's quite a bit out there, boilies and whatever, and we're going to do it with that. So what I'll do, I'll just cast it out. So we go to our marker on the line. There's the marker. Can you see the marker there? Up in between the second ring. Get up there and have a little look. All that is a little bit of electrical tape. I've made it small, you know, like if you make it too big, sometimes when you're casting out, you've got to watch out it don't get caught. Yeah. So we've got that, and to make sure we're bang on the money, alright, we'll put that in the clip. Wind it back in. Oh, look, there's one out there now having a little old dabble up out there. Best we hurry up and get this on him, because I think it's the happy hour. What do you reckon? Are you happy?
2.5 an hour is not a bad start, is it? Well, we didn't get 2, but 2 bites in half an hour is not too bad, is it?
No, no.
It's worth mentioning, of course, that this is a day ticket water, isn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's a day ticket water. I think it's, you know, it's good value for money. I don't know how much it costs.
No, I don't know, but I don't think it's very expensive.
Right, a little bit I'll show you. You see where we tied the 2 knots on either end to tie the bag off?
Yeah.
You don't want to hook it through that knot.
No.
Because that takes a long time to melt.
Yes.
What I normally do is just hook it in the side, once, twice through there, and it's on. Right, left hand rod.
And that's clipped up now.
Yeah. Bang. Yeah, oh look. Bang. It's there.
Not complicated, is it?
No, it's all pretty straightforward. Just little edges like that. You know, as I said to you, like when I come here yesterday, I had a little run round with the marker rod. I pulled the marker rod right across the front of this swim and put it out to about 70 yards, 70, 80 yards. And I pulled the marker back and we found a little bit of gravel and clay chips, a little bit of uneven ground. As you're pulling it across, the old tip will bounce around, but we'll show you that later. Yeah. But that's why we're fishing there, you know, like the fish run up and down that little bit of gravel and they know that it's, you know, it's a good little feeding area. You know, sometimes in the winter, you get the fish, especially when they get on the naturals. When they get on the naturals, right, and there's a bit of bloodworm out there, you normally find that in the old soft silty bottom. And what happens, the old carp get in there and like when they start feeding in the silt, they get through that layer of silt and you end up with hard patches. And you know, like what I'll do is when I cast this rod out, I'll show you how it bangs as it hits the bottom. You've got to get the bump. If you can get on the bump, you're laughing. Clip back lead on, wish. It goes. I put it out a little way just to get it off the bottom of the edge so it lays down a little bit better. Right, that's that one. We go and get the other one. I'd clip this one up, so we ain't got to worry about clipping this one up. But we'll do the same again on this one. We'll put a little bag on it and see if it gets them aroused. You've got to get them aroused, haven't you? One of the problems sometimes when you're on waters like this, there's a lot of other fish. There's a lot of silverfish. And they get straight on the pellet. So sometimes, to avoid that, I just fish boilies only. I don't put any pellet out. Bang, there it was, it hit the bottom.
That marker buoy on the far bank, that life buoy on the far bank's not a bad marker, is it?
No, well, I like the caravan. I can see that.
All of it.
I can see that in the dark. When you're sitting here in the dark, all alone in your bivvy.
I don't think we don't need to go there.
Last night though, I had to go to sleep. I couldn't stay up all night. If I'd have stayed up all night, I'd have had quite a few fish. Because the thing is as well, at this time of year, you do get a lot of fish, especially the bigger fish, the 20-pound fish. You know, they seem to feed more harder of a night. And it's just the sign of the times. Throughout the summer, a lot of fish get caught sort of early morning, you know, from 5 o'clock in the morning up to about 10 o'clock in the morning, because the old sun gets a bit hot and away they go. Right, let's wait for this one to rip off.
Let's talk about this lot.
Come on then, let's do it.
So we've talked about your boilies and we've talked about your pop-up,
right,
which I have to say is beautiful, isn't it?
When you put them in, you know, like, look, oh no, you're not going to be able to see it because obviously we're going to have to weight it down. But when you put that in the water and it sits on the bottom there, as I said to you before, here we got, you know, the water here is quite cloudy because there's a lot of fish and they're feeding all the time on the bottom, digging the bottom up, so you end up with a lot of colour in the water. On some of the waters that you're fishing, the water's shin clear like tap water. And when you see that, you know, you imagine that stands out like a sore thumb on the bottom, and the old fish have got something to home in on.
Let's talk about baits, because there's an awful lot written about baits. My approach to baits has always been fairly basic. I've caught a huge number of fish this season on worms.
Oh, they love worms.
Yeah, I mean, I still consider it a tremendous bait, but there's so many flavours now. You are a serious angler. What advice would you give to people? I've just said to you that I've had a lot of fish on halibut flavoured baits this year, particularly pellets. If somebody was starting out carp fishing, the baits and the flavours is a bit of a minefield, isn't it? What advice would you give?
Well, it's like a lot of it is word to mouth. There's so much in the magazines now, you know that, and I know that, and what somebody else, one person will use, somebody else won't use. You know, throughout the summer months, as you said, fish meal baits, fish meal base baits will catch, you know, lots of fish. I find that you have to use things like this a lot.
This is the main line that you were talking about.
Yeah, this
earlier,
is
and I've used them to great
mainline
effect.
pellet.
Yeah.
Right, and hemp's a good one. But sometimes you can't go. You mustn't go too mad with the hemp because they get a little bit preoccupied by it. And when you're sitting there and you're looking at, I'm sure it's the crunch. When a fish comes in and it feeds and it picks up a bait, you know, if it's feeding on lots and lots of little particles, it'll put its mouth down over the floor and just keep sucking in. Yeah. It'll just hoover it up. You know what I mean? And then the other times, like sometimes when they're on bollies, I watched the fish in the margins on a lake I was fishing last year, and I couldn't believe it. Now this lake was an estate lake, and the fish that were in there were they'd been fished for, but it had been closed for 12 years, right? And I thought, yeah, it's going to be like clubbing seals or whatever, you know, it's going to be so easy to catch them. And I tell you what, they were buggers. They really were hard to catch, all right? You know, I caught my share of fish, but it wasn't until I saw them feed. I put a dozen baits in the margin, all right? Fish comes in. Now, he's got no other fish around him. This is one single fish. He come in and he picked up one boilie, then he turned, swam off and went away. He could have had all of them boilies in one sitting, easy. A 20-pound fish can eat unbelievable amounts of boilies when he gets his eating head on. And again, came back, and gradually he just whittled through the bait. And all of a sudden he picked the wrong one up, which was the one with the hook in it. And, you know, it's...
Having come from a match fishing background, these pellets, for me, do what casters used to do. Because they don't fill the fish, do they?
They've got a crunch again there, haven't you? Caster, it crunches, doesn't it?
Yeah. But they swim around and they don't fill them up and they don't go anywhere. And Ivor Marks used to say that casters was a grazing bait.
Yeah,
Fish
same thing.
Come in and just graze on them and they don't get filled. It's like trying to fill somebody up with Smarties, isn't it? You've got to eat a lot of Smarties.
Oh, yeah.
But if you have one big chocolate bar, you're full. You're full. But these are devastating, I think. And I find it quite extraordinary that the same creature that will eat these will pick up a tutti frutti and a pineapple and...
Or a tiger nut.
Totally, you know, all over the place, aren't they? And that's what I think is confusing for the newcomer to the sport. Where does he start? It's a bit like kid in a sweet shop, isn't it? You know, should I have some of those or should I have some of those? And it's very difficult for them to focus. And also angling is one of the pastimes. There's always a reason why you didn't catch, and it's never you, is it?
No.
Never
I think as you get a bit older in the tooth, you know what I mean? It's, I think, you know, weather conditions is one of the biggest factors, you know.
And now we're on the cusp, aren't we? We've not really had any frosts yet.
No.
And it's that 3 or 4 weeks that we're going to get where you would say, this is prime time now. This is the time when they've got to feed.
Yeah.
The onset of winter. They know they've got to feed now because the water temperature's starting to drop.
Well, their natural's going as well, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's a wonderful time of year to be out fishing. Let me talk to you about your kit. Now, it's no secret that you are a consultant for Maver, and I noticed that the rods that you're fishing with today have got no insignia. So I assume these are prototype rods.
Yes, they're prototype rods that I'm testing out over the last, 4 months. I've been through loads and loads of rods.
And what do you look for in a rod?
I look for nice action, cast. You know, I think a lot of the time when you look forward to the way things have gone, Mr. Average, I'm not talking about the specialist guys, right? Most specialist guys, if they're fishing for big carp, there's weed in the lake. Yeah. If you've got weed in the lake, right, and you've got a cast to range, because a lot of these big fish are on big open expanses of water, full of weed. You hook a big fish and you got to bring him in from, let's say, at long range, or even 78, even 20 yards out in the weed. You've got to have a rod that's powerful enough for, pulling that fish through the weed. Obviously, you don't want to pull their heads off, but you need a nice soft tip on it with a bit of backbone to the rod. Most of these sort of lakes, day ticket waters, carp pools, where there's lots and lots of small fish, lots of open water, an average sort of depth, sort of between 5 to 8 foot deep or 9 foot deep. So you want something that's a little bit softer. You want to be using a 2 to 2 3/4 pound test curve rod. You don't want to go straight in and go, I'll have a 3 or 3.5 pound, because that, Mr. Average won't go to the places where he's got to use such heavy equipment. The reels are small. You're not using massive, great big pit reels. What you're using on big lakes. In the weed and whatever, but I'd look for something which has got a really nice action to it. When you get into 2, 2.5, 2 3/4, you want, a little bit of a through action on the rod.
But you also want to have a bit of fun with the rod, don't you? When you're playing the fish.
Yeah.
You want to be able to feel the fish. And certainly our experience at Total Carp and even at advanced carp fishing is that the majority of anglers are not going out fishing for £50 fish. They will go to France and to places like Le Quay, but mainly a £20 fish is still a good fish.
Well, this is where sometimes it's a little bit sad, you know what I mean? I was fishing in the late 60s and the 70s for carp, and when I first started, I had to try and find a water that had a double figure carp in it, because they didn't exist.
And that was in Essex, which is prolific these days.
It is now.
Yeah,
it is now, and it's sometimes I get like, I get asked by lots of kids and everything else, and some of the times I think they're a little bit misled. Like when I was a kid, I used to get on my bike, ride down the road and catch perch out of a pond, and learn how to fish.
Well, I've just seen a most extraordinary sight. 6 men trying to get in a one-man bivvy. As you can see, it's been raining. Has it just? It's gone flat calm.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like mill pond.
It's amazing, isn't it? We had a nice ripple, a nice breeze, everything was going fine. Comes the rain, goes flat calm. We've not had a bite for 20 minutes. What's plan B?
Plan B is we got to get out there and get onto the top, because it's gone flat calm. All the fish are on the surface. On this lake, being a match lake, they fish the bagging waggler a lot, so they're firing out pellet and they're taking them off of the top 3 foot of the water.
Now that's not your game, is it?
No. Like I do fish a rig called a zig rig.
Right.
Right, and I think what we've got to do is we've got to try and put another rod out, I reckon, and have a little go. fish it up in the water, 2-3 foot under the surface, where the fish seem to be showing now. It's gone flat calm. You know, there's areas out here, out in the lake.
There's a lot of bubbles over to our right, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is now they're on the top, they're having a little go. You can see them, look, there's rakes of them out there.
So tell me about the zig rig.
The zig rig, well, what it is, you use a nylon hook length, which is quite a light poundage, and what you do is, whatever depth the water is, say it's 11 foot, what you do is you set up a hook length anywhere between a foot below the surface down to 3 foot below the surface. You have to find out what level they're on. And what you do is you fish it on a running lead, but what we're going to do, which is a little bit different, normally when you fish a zig rig, when they're up in the middle layers, you put the rod out there and you don't feed over the top of it. But because of this old bagging waggler thing, what we're going to do, I'm going to stand there and I'm going to feed it. I've got to feed it all the time to keep them fish going through it.
I think this is something that a lot of inexperienced anglers don't understand, and that is when the fish are up in the water, as soon as that bait goes by them, it's as good as dead, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, we're away. Hey, look at that.
Here we go, my son.
Yeah, oh, look, that's one off the bottom. Well, you can't beat that. Come on, fella. Let's have it. It's weird, isn't it? Look at this. When we had that wind just now, it slowed up a little bit. Now it's done this. But hopefully we'll get another fish in and just keep them coming. I'll show you how to do the zig in just a moment when we got this in.
Well, that was Sod's Law, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. It's me saying that they've gone off on the bottom. And here we go. Like, even the old swans come to have a look at us. He thinks he's going to get fed.
This really is a lovely time of year, isn't it?
Oh, it's wonderful. Here we go. Don't go that way, please. Don't want him bumping into the other rod. That's one of the reasons why I said earlier about putting the old back lead on.
This feels a reasonable.
It's
reasonable fish.
Small to medium, I reckon.
Great fun, these fisheries, aren't they?
Little old common lot. There we go. One thing I have found sometimes, when you're playing a fish and you do what I've just done, you crouch down, it all seems to go out of control. I know match anglers sit on their boxes all the time, don't they?
Yeah.
And very rare they get up off of them when they're playing a fish. But, go on. He's having a go, isn't he?
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe he's that big, would you? I think what it is, when you get a lot of these match waters, what happens, you end up with, because they're fishing with really fine lines, the old fish, it's like they've been down the gym, they have a workout, because they take a lot, and they're very, very fit fish. Because it takes a long while to, you know, for the match anglers to play them in. What doesn't help is blowing the lead up, look. He's blowing the lead up above the leader. Yeah, get in there.
Well done, my son.
As they say, another one bites the dust. I thought that was a good song, that one.
10cc, as I remember.
No, it was Queen.
Oh, of course it was, yeah.
Oh, Freddie. Yeah. Come on, the Freddie. Put that down there. Let's have a quick one at the camera and we'll slip him straight back.
That's a nice looking fish, isn't it?
There you go. It's all nice and intact. Its old mouth in good condition. Look at that. That'll do. Not a monster, but it's a fish. Let's slip him back. Take him back in the net. You don't want to drop him And what we do, we plop him in over here, and away he goes. Go on.
Nice one.
Oh, hey, here we go again. Come on.
I don't think you're ever destined to fish this zig rig, you know.
Well, the way it's going now.
That came from nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'd only just cast it out. Look, I've been shuffling all the gear around to get the zig rig in there. But here we go. We're in again. Look at that, one rod out there. I've been sitting here with them 2 rods out there, waiting and waiting. Just put it back out there again and we're in again.
It's getting a bit muddy down there now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I'm going to go in soon. That'll be alright in front of the cameras, won't it? Just had to make sure I get my mobile phone out.
It would be somewhat Don-like.
That'll do. In you go. Thank you very much, sweet lovely cheers. Only a little one, but that'll do.
The last one you had was about £8.
Yeah.
Nice fish.
Well, this one, I think you'd use that for a live bait.
Little mirror.
Yeah, little mirror. Tiny little mirror, look at that.
And was that on 2 boilies?
No, that was on a single one. This is what I said about the 2 boilies. Yeah. Right, there's my little chappie. Woohoo! Don't go in, look at that little fella. Go on. See you later. Tell your mum I want to catch you. Bye-bye.
Well, it seems to have calmed down again and given Derek enough time to set up his zig rig rod, which I'm fascinated to find out about. Derek, show us what you've got. This is the zig rig.
This is the zig rig. Right, what you've got is a small hook with, and what I've done is I've cut the pop-up down so it looks, you know, it's more like a pellet.
So this is the pineapple that we've been using?
Yeah, this is the pineapple one. The reason I've put that on, you know, we can try a few things out. We can try different, you know, I've got darker coloured pop-ups that we can put in there. And the thing is, it's I've put a yellow one on so that visually they might be able to see it a little bit better.
So you're going to fish this, what, about 9 foot off the bottom?
About 9 foot off the bottom.
In what, 11 foot of water?
Yeah, it's 11 and a half foot of water. Yeah. As you can see, it's quite a long hook length, you know, like right up here at the top end. And what we've got is we've got a small lead, not, you know, a big lead. You want sort of an ounce and a half.
That's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
Well,
nothing complicated about that.
Straightforward. The more complicated you make it, the more things can go wrong.
Right.
And so then what we're going to do is we'll put that. We've got all this put together, and I'm going to do it a little bit different, as I said earlier. What I said was normally you put a zig rig out and just leave it out there, but because of this bagging wrangler method where they fire the pellet, I've put a little mix together out of all these baits, as you can see. What I've done is I've got some mainline pineapple proactive pellets. Right, they're a little bit slower breakdown, but it's, you know, it's just all different bits and pieces.
And these are sweet pineapples, so it's complementing the hook bait.
That's right. And what we've got here in this one, you know, like we've got the tuna.
I was talking to you about these earlier. The fish in my pond absolutely love them.
Oh, no, they go crazy
love
for them. And on this one we've got the milky coconut. And what I've done as well is put a little bit of ground bait in there. This one is an activated fish mix. I know normally you'd wet it up and everything else, but for our spodding reasons, it just see if I can put a little cloud over it. And by the way, you've got a load of it on your hooker. Right, and then all we're going to do is fill the spod up. I've got the spod rod clipped up. And what I'll do is I'll fire the spod rod out there into the area where the fish are, out here. And then what I'll do is I'll cast this out over the top of it. And all I'm going to keep doing is gently feeding it. And,
Right.
you know, I won't fill that spod right up. I fill it up sort of halfway and then put a little drop of water on top of it. You know, just dip it into the water so it just holds the pellet there in the spod.
Right.
And then continuously we're going to just keep popping it over the top of where I'm fishing.
Let's do it.
Let's get it on with the Don. Come on. Right.
Does your doctor know you're out?
Does my doctor? No, they let me out of Runwell. That's one of the places where they put people who are not all the ticket. Right.
Now, is
so,
that spod, is that a particular favourite of yours? I think that's a garden spod, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a gardener spot that I'm using there.
And what is it about that you...
Well, it's, you know, they've seen the test of time. They've been about for donkeys, these ones. And they're pretty accurate. You know, you can cast them sort of on a sixpence, you know. And the other thing is, sometimes you don't get a lot of bait discharge out of it.
No.
Causing, you know, to get a line closer in a bait.
But I
really.
mean, World and his brother sells.
Oh yeah,
now,
you know, you can get them in any fishing tackle shop.
Yeah.
Right, as you see, look, all I've done is I've just filled it up halfway.
Yeah.
And then just dunk him straight into the water so it fills it up with water. And I've got this clipped up already, so we can fire away as may be. Pick yourself a spot on the opposite side of the bank. Over there, on the opposite side over there, we've got a few cars, and I think what we'll do, we'll aim it at the last car. So we can just gently whop it out there, bang, it's hit the clip. So now that's going to discharge, and you can see the spod is sticking up in the water out there. Right, take your rod, cast it onto the marker. Oh, hit one on the head then.
That acts as a good marker, that spod, Derek, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, when you're doing this sort of fishing, you know, even if you're mucking about, you know, fishing on the bottom and putting bait out to fish to the bottom, it's pretty good. Can't believe that, we hit one on the head out there then. So they're out there, all we got to do is the donkey do now. Come on. This is hard work though, because you've just got to keep putting it out there all the time. All the time.
But the thing is about this method, as we discussed earlier, once the bait has gone past the area at which they're feeding, in effect it's dead, isn't it?
Yeah,
they don't go down after it. They just feed on that plane.
That's it, you know, it's right on the back of that wind line out there. And also noise. Fish, you know, especially on these sort of waters, the fish are attracted to the noise. Sooner or later that'll go off, it just takes time, you just got to be patient. And then once they get on it, then normally you'll get quite a few fish.
Well, it's been quiet for about an hour, but Del has a plan.
A cunning plan, Baldy.
Cunning plan.
Right, you want to see what
Go
I've
on,
got
my
here
son,
then?
tell us.
Tell me all about it.
What are these?
What are they? They're pellets.
We've seen these already.
Right, yeah, it's the main on pellets, and what we've done is we put a little drop of water in with the pellets and left it for a little while with a few additives in it. Then we put a little bit of ground bait in it, and we've knocked it all up, so we've ended up with a little paste like this. I've got to have a little go under there. Let me show you my rod, what we've done. It's simple, so simple. All we've done is tie a hook length on there. We've got fluorocarbon leader on it, right up to the top there. See where we've tied it on?
And this is just a loop to loop?
Yeah, loop to loop. And all we do, we just put a little bit of paste on just the hook. There's no air rig, anything like that. It's all quite plain and simple.
I think there is an overriding feeling with anglers that paste comes off. And the reality is that it doesn't, does it?
You have to be gentle with it.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to hoof it out. All
No.
we're going to do is drop it in the edge.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
But I mean, just let me do something. Just to, I mean, that is so soft, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is not a lump of clay that
No,
you're
no,
putting
no,
out
no,
there.
no. It's as soft as
Very,
I'm-
very soft.
Well, let's put it this way. I've worked this so that we can get it so that it just stays on the hook.
Yeah.
Let's go and get it on under the bush. Come on, let's be having you. And there you go, that's it. Simple, plain. Let's do it.
Have it. Whoa, that worked.
Yeah,
Well, that
we
was
sorted
pretty
that
instant,
out.
wasn't it?
You got to get them in the edge. It's only a bubby.
What was that, 3 foot?
3 foot out from the bank.
I'm just on a little bit of paste.
Oh, the hell smells. Can you believe that, man? We're up and we're on.
That's amazing, isn't it? We're all sat here, and first chuck in with a bit of paste, and you've got one.
Yeah, he's there.
Nice fish.
That's a bubby.
Is it?
It's a bubby.
Yeah, it's a fish. It's a
It's not a
fish.
monster. It's not Julian.
But that method that you're fishing there is so unbelievably simple, isn't it?
Oh yeah, just a bit of paste, a bit of hook, and that's it.
Nothing, no, an old hair rig, nothing, just some paste on a hook, just chucked down the side. Man, in all fairness, you have fed there, haven't you?
Yeah, we've been trickling a little bit of bait in there. You just got to keep doing these sort of things, haven't you? Thing is, we had to take this one a little bit easy because that's a bit lighter, that old line that we got on there. The hook length was probably
But I think if it doesn't...
10 pounds, something like that. Here we go.
I think what it proves though, Derek, is you've got to keep working, haven't you? You've got to keep trying
Oh yeah,
new
you can't
things.
keep still, can you? And there you go. As I say, another one bites the dust. Come on.
Isn't that 10cc?
No, it's not. It's bloody Queen. How many more times? Look at the colour of that
Oh,
fish.
that's cute. That's gold. It's a goldfish.
Oh,
It's a
look
golden
at that.
fish.
He's been born in here. He's still got the little curtain inside his mouth. It's probably never been caught until he got it on with it on. Come on.
So we've put all that bait out there, and we've sat behind your rods.
Yeah.
Did it all right. Nothing.
And we just had
For the
a
best
little
part of an
fight.
hour. And then you do no more than tie a bit of monofilament and a hook on your line, a bit of paste, and first put in under the tree, 3 foot from the bank.
Yep.
That, as they say, is fishing.
Oh, yes. It's been difficult because this old weather and everything else.
Well, I think the fact that after that rain, it just went flat calm. There was a little flurry there, wasn't there? And then nothing, and then...
I think that was a bit over excessive. We didn't net about that bit, did we?
Yeah, well, there you go. I've enjoyed this session with Derek. There's no question he's a character. But what's come out of this for me is that if you want to just pitch up and chuck out, then there's a reasonable chance on this type of fishery that you will catch some fish. But Derek's called upon all his experience. He's tried different things. Some things have worked, some things have not worked. The weather's been extremely changeable. For the most part, very, very mild. We had a very severe downpour. And as I say, it was just a little humorous watching 6 blokes trying to get in a one-man bivvy. But it's about versatility. Derek's persevered, he's tried things, and at the end of the day, he's had a good session, I think you'd all agree. I hope you've enjoyed the programme, and I hope we'll catch up with you again sometime. Bye for now.